Developing right now on Morning News Now, President Trump on the world stage in New York City as he prepares to address key heads of state at the UN General Assembly. Meanwhile, controversy over the president's announcement about a common over-the-counter pain reliever linking its use during pregnancy to autism in children.
Taking Tylenol is not good. If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol.
Now, doctors pushing back with decades of evidence showing it's safe. What you need to know. Late night comeback. Jimmy Kimmel Live returning to ABC programming starting tonight, nearly 1 week after the comedian's comments about the killing of Charlie Kirk sparked the show's suspension. What we know about today's taping and why some ABC stations are still keeping Kimmel off the air. Also developing flooding fears as a series of storms stretches across much of the country, and Hurricane Gabrielle gaining strength as it barrels toward the Caribbean. We are tracking it all. And retired life, not for everyone. While most of us dream of getting out of the daily grind, others might not find it as peaceful. We'll unpack the emotions of retirement and the factors that could impact how you see your golden years. I get that.
I feel my parents have all gone through it. It's a step-by-step process. Can take a year or two to really get into the swing of things.
It's so true. My dad.
I can't wait.
I know, right? My dad retired earlier this year. We've talked a lot about that. Just when you change things up, it's tough.
Good to have you with us this morning. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Thank you for joining us. We're going to begin this Tuesday right here in New York. That's where President Trump will be returning to the world stage when he addresses the 80th United Nations General Assembly later this morning. The president arrived here last night from Washington. Now, Mr. Trump's trip comes at a time when he and other world leaders are being confronted with several conflicts that seem to have no peaceful end in sight.
You could say the UN General Assembly is like the ultimate global TED Talk with speeches by nearly 150 heads of state or government. Brazil goes first this morning, then the U.S. will address the United Nations second. Security is heavy in Midtown Manhattan as things kick off, and President Trump's speech will be among the most highly anticipated. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt offered a preview yesterday of what we could expect to hear.
President Trump will deliver a major speech touting the renewal of American strength around the world, his historic accomplishments in just 8 months, including the ending of 7 global wars and conflicts. The president will also touch upon how globalist institutions have significantly decayed the world order, and he will articulate his straightforward and constructive vision for the world.
NBC News White House correspondent Vaughn Hilliard joins us now from outside the UN with the preview. Vaughn, good morning. So President Trump has been dialing back U.S. support for the UN so far in this second term. He's withdrawn from the World Health Organization, ended the U.S.'s participation in the UN Human Rights Council. With all that in mind, what do we expect to hear from the president today?
You're absolutely right, Joe, and he has rankled a great many allies with severe tariffs. Of course, those tariffs and their future are up in the air, pending a Supreme Court decision and hearing later on this fall. But this, if you go back to the first Trump administration, he oftentimes in his remarks would talk about peace through strength and making the case that America would prioritize its own well-being first, and that other countries, including longtime U.S. allies, needed to contribute more militarily to their own defenses. And we should expect to hear similar along those lines here in 2025. We also expect him to tout the end of multiple wars and conflicts that he and his administration have helped broker. But of course, there are serious questions about how he will be about Russia's continued war against Ukraine. He has repeatedly threatened to issue more sanctions on Russia, but so far we have not seen that over the course of this summer. And Estonia, Romania, and Poland have all told the UN that there were incursions of Russian Air Force into their airspace. And so there are questions here about what the president is willing to threaten in terms of directives for Russia to end its war, but also there is a deep question here about the extent to which he will talk about the conflict in Gaza. Of course, several other longtime allies of the U.S. have called for the designation of a Palestinian state. The president has deferred to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on that front. Netanyahu has made clear that he does not support a Palestinian state in the future as he continues his war in Gaza.
Vaughn, actually, we know President Trump will be meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, along with other world leaders, sort of these side one-on-one meetings. And it comes as Zelensky is calling on allies to take action against Russia for its continued attacks on the country, as well as incursions to other countries, as you just mentioned. Does this sideline meeting offer any real chance, do you think, for any kind of diplomatic breakthroughs this week?
Absolutely. This timing is important here because it was just 1 month ago that President Trump met with President Zelensky and other European allies, and that was coming off of his welcoming of Vladimir Putin to U.S. soil now more than 1 month ago in Alaska. And at the time, President Trump had suggested that Putin essentially had 2 weeks to enter into a ceasefire. Well, those 2 weeks came and went with no serious ramifications. And even people like President Macron spoke out and suggested that the White House had been played again by Putin. And Zelensky has been very clear, saying it is incumbent upon European allies to go forward and be tough on Russia, understanding that they have no intent of ending their war, in that those actions by Europe could put pressure on the United States president to take further actions himself.
Vaughn, the White House also confirmed yesterday that Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, sent President Trump a letter, and this comes after the U.S. military recently destroyed several boats from Venezuela that were allegedly carrying drugs. What do we know about what was in that letter?
Right. In this letter, there was the urging of the United States to come and sit down with, particularly their special envoy, to sit down with Venezuelan officials. Nicolas Maduro, the president, has denied that he is engaged in narco trafficking. Of course, there have now been 3 boats that have been struck by U.S. military forces in very unprecedented ways in which there was no actual war declaration by the U.S. That is not typical. The U.S. has not done this before, where they go and target off of U.S. soil drug trafficking, either boats or vehicles, things of this kind. And so there are serious questions about what the U.S.'s intent here is ahead. But Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, suggested that they believed that there were lies inside of this letter here from Venezuela. And they said it is incumbent upon Venezuela to stop narco trafficking if they do not want similar types of strikes by U.S. military forces in the future.
All right. Vaughn, thank you.
Well, in health news, the Trump administration is pushing an unproven link between acetaminophen, that is that active ingredient that's in Tylenol, and autism. At the White House yesterday, the president said pregnant women should not be taking it, claiming there may be a link to autism in children, but offering little evidence to back it up. Doctors say studies going back decades show the medicine is safe during pregnancy. NBC's Ann Thompson has these critical details for us.
Taking Tylenol is not good. All right, I'll say it. It's not good.
In a rambling statement, long on opinion, but with little new science, President Donald Trump said the FDA would tell doctors that the use of acetaminophen or Tylenol in pregnancy can increase the risk of autism.
If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol.
FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary pointing to several studies, including one from Mount Sinai, that says prenatal exposure may increase the risk of neurodevelopmental disorders, including autism, but that further research is needed to confirm these associations and determine causality and mechanisms. Tylenol's maker strongly disagreeing with the White House, saying in a statement that a decade of rigorous research confirms there is no credible evidence linking acetaminophen to autism. And the medical community is not changing its guidance. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists still says it is safe to take acetaminophen during pregnancy.
We've been studying that medication for over 20 years. There have been numerous well-designed trials that have come out that have showed safety and efficacy.
The federal government says it's spending $50 million to look for the cause of autism. Despite decades of research showing no connection between vaccines and autism, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. brought it up again.
One area that we are closely examining, as the president mentioned, is vaccines.
Cami Shaw is a nurse.
Show me the science. Show me the good studies. Show me repeat studies.
Her middle child, Jeffrey, has autism.
So adding more uncertainty, especially with something that I can't change, is just makes things more confusing and more frustrating and doesn't actually help our kids or the families.
Our thanks to Ann Thompson for that report. Let's continue this conversation with NBC News medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel. Dr. Patel, good morning. Great to see you. So I heard you yesterday as we were covering this on one of our shows here kind of say, obviously, what's so great about science is that it can evolve, is that we can learn something new and we can provide guidance based on that. But is there actually any credible scientific research out there that is new, that links acetaminophen to autism? Anne did mention in her report there, the FDA commissioner pointed to some studies, but are those reliable? Does it change long-held beliefs about acetaminophen and pregnancy?
Yeah, good morning, Savannah and Joe. So that's exactly, I was referring to the kind of open and willingness. I think there's been this confusion that scientists or doctors like me are kind of fixed and rigid and that we're not looking at the new science. That's absolutely the contrary. And I think what's being referenced here, and Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt even posted about this, were that there are many observational studies that have shown an association between prenatal acetaminophen use, meaning the moms using Tylenol, and neurodevelopmental outcomes, including autism, ADHD, and other neurodevelopmental disorders. However, association does not mean causation. And what we need are stronger designs to reduce the confounding when we see those stronger design studies, such as sibling control studies, where you have siblings and you can look at what their mom took, very large registries. Those studies do not support a causal relationship. So the bottom line is that the evidence could evolve. I'd love to see new evidence. I didn't hear about any of that yesterday, but with the evidence we have to date, it is inconsistent and not conclusive about a causal link.
So with that in mind, and I'm sure you're hearing from patients, what should pregnant women and families know about acetaminophen right now? I mean, is it safe and recommended to use?
Yeah, so literally, truly, as of this very second, it is safe to use. Acetaminophen is actually the preferred option in pregnancy for pain and fever in an acute setting in a short term, because things like nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories, or what we would call ibuprofen or Advil, carry specific pregnancy risks. So we really do think about targeting real pain, significant fever. And I'll just say this, Joe, that actually not treating it, and I think the president referred to kind of toughing it out, not treating a fever, so having a high fever or not treating something can actually be more harmful. So I think you have to weigh the benefit and risks. And as of right now, there has been no evidence that was revealed in yesterday's press conference or in the accompanying literature that's been published to date that should change any woman's mind about talking to her doctor about using acetaminophen safely.
Well, Dr. Patel, that's exactly what I wanted to bring up. I think that concept of tough it out, or even if for people who haven't been pregnant, you just think, well, gosh, if I heard that there's even a question, or to use your language, if there was not conclusive evidence, like I would rather just avoid it. But sometimes that can actually also be dangerous if you continue to be in that type of pain or fever. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Look, Savannah, look, in pregnancy, there's a lot of things we tell women to avoid. We do tell women to absolutely avoid smoking, alcohol, other substances. We even tell them to try to avoid soft cheeses or deli meat because of fears of listeriosis that have been linked to some of them unless you can source them well. But in this case, having a pain that's acute, fever that's acute, potentially an infection that's acute, and not dealing with that, again, in conjunction with a doctor, I think that that's incredibly harmful. So acetaminophen is available over the counter, and we do give guidance to women that you should not use it in chronic, you shouldn't use it for weeks or months in a prolonged setting, but that using it for a short term and up to a certain amount is absolutely safe in all forms and in all times of pregnancy. And I think that that's something that you just heard Anne's reporting is reiterating. By the way, we're hearing reports around the globe because these comments have sparked confusion in other countries as well. Other countries are clarifying and underlining exactly the same points I'm making.
All right, Dr. Kavita Patel, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Jimmy Kimmel is returning to late-night television tonight, nearly a week after Disney suspended him and put his show out indefinitely. Well, now the company's reversing course after fierce backlash over that suspension. But Kimmel won't be seen in every city, with at least one station group planning to keep Kimmel off its ABC affiliates. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz has the latest.
After nearly a week of silence, Disney announcing Jimmy Kimmel will be back on the air. The company says the reversal comes after days of thoughtful conversations with Jimmy, adding Kimmel's show was suspended last week to avoid further inflaming a tense situation, calling his comments in the wake of Charlie Kirk's assassination ill-timed and thus insensitive.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from.
Disney and ABC pulled Kimmel off the air after pressure from the FCC chairman and two major television station ownership groups who said they'd stop airing the show following conservative outrage over Kimmel's comments. Sinclair, which owns dozens of ABC stations nationwide, previously said it would not air Jimmy Kimmel Live again unless the comedian apologized to the Kirk family and made a donation to them and Turning Point USA. Sinclair writing, discussions with ABC are ongoing as we evaluate the show's potential return.
Free speech is under attack.
The decision to put Kimmel back on the air comes as Disney faces mounting backlash, including protests and calls to boycott the company.
I'm canceling my Disney Plus.
ABC's The View finally addressing the controversy.
The government cannot apply pressure to force someone to be silenced.
2 days after Kimmel was pulled off the air, police say 64-year-old Anibal Hernandez-Santana fired shots into an ABC station in Sacramento. The district attorney telling NBC News investigators found anti-Trump notes in his home and that they believe Kimmel's suspension may have been a factor.
We're still looking and investigating the case, but he chose a very particular target. And with the notes that he left behind, I think there's circumstantial evidence there to show that this was politically motivated crime by this individual.
Hernandez-Santana, a retired state lobbyist, was first arrested by local police on Friday, but released on bail. The FBI then stepped in and rearrested him. His attorney says he plans to plead not guilty to the number of state and federal charges he now faces.
All right, thanks to Liz Croyce for that report. For more, let's bring in Brian Steinberg. He's senior TV editor at Variety. He's been covering this controversy over Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. Brian, good to have you with us again. So I know part of what's been going on really behind the scenes these last few days is figuring out what Kimmel's return would even look like. So do we know what to expect? Do you think he's going to tone down the politics or offer any sort of apology here?
Unclear. We've been asking that question for the last couple of hours, yesterday as well. Disney's not giving any details. All we know is that whatever he's going to do has been agreed upon between him and the executive. This is the path they've chosen to move forward. I expect a lot of people to watch tonight to see how he's going to navigate it. There are people who are offended. There are people who want him back on the air. Can he bring them all together with a speech or a monologue or a sketch? It'll be interesting to see.
Brian, you've reported that Disney says the decision was not based on these external influences. Do you think, though, the amount of pressure placed on the company, calls for a boycott, we saw these protests, open letters from stars condemning Disney. Do you think that factored into the decision?
I have to think it did. This is a company that thrives on creativity. It depends on actors, producers, directors, cinematographers, graphic designers to make their products work. And if these folks who are employed by Disney felt dismayed, I think pressure was building in a different direction. There was backlash to the backlash, so to speak. And I think that it was an untenable position they were in.
So as Liz reported, not all the ABC affiliates are going to show Jimmy Kimmel tonight. We got one station group standing by its decision, Sinclair, basically saying they're going to preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live across their ABC stations, replacing it with news programming, which, to be clear, comes at a cost for Sinclair. So, given the economic relationship between a network and its affiliates, were you surprised Disney announced that Kimmel was coming back without a deal to make sure he was on every one of their stations?
There are other costs for not putting Kimmel back on. And as we discussed, there's brand costs, there's people cutting streaming services, which is Disney's new focus. Disney can do a number of different things. They can put Kimmel on Hulu and Disney Plus and get him out that way. They could find other stations in certain markets that might want to carry him opposite Sinclair. If it came to that, there are things they might try and do but yeah, it's going to be a problem going forward until they figure out what Nexstar and Sinclair will do. I see Sinclair said their discussions are ongoing, which says to me that the door is open for this to reverse itself.
Also, this is obviously just a challenging backdrop for late night. We've had a lot of discussions, including with you, about Stephen Colbert. Jimmy Kimmel's contract was already up for renewal next year. Do you think he and Disney, what happens over this next year? How does that factor into a contract negotiation with the current challenging backdrop for late night?
It's a great question. Kimmel's deal is up next year, we understand. And with the economics of this day part, this format, are not what they once were. Johnny Carson's no longer behind a desk. There are many more people doing this stuff. Audiences are smaller, and viewers are hard to get to watch at 11:30 at night. I mean, we've been told by people who know Kimmel that he is closer to the end than the beginning. Will this be the time he decides to step away, or does he want to do a couple of more cycles? He certainly has, good association with Disney. He's been on there for more than 2 decades. He does host the Oscars, does game shows. He's really entrenched at ABC and Disney. I suspect they would like to keep him as long as the show is showing a profit and he is part of that ambassadorial, relationship. Might want to try and keep him on a little bit longer. But let's see. Maybe something will be announced tonight. Who can say?
All right, Brian, good to have you guiding us through this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Time now for weather. Showers, thunderstorms are going to stretch across much of the country today.
We've got Angie Lassman here tracking it all for us. Hi, Angie. Good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning to you. It is an active morning already across the middle of the country. That's where we're going to see the most action here as the day goes on, and we have the most concern for impactful weather. Here's what we've got right now. You can see your radar quite active with plenty of lightning and some heavy rain focused across essentially Oklahoma, stretching up through Kansas, and even points north of that and east of that. Kansas City in and out of the rain already this morning, and this is kind of just setting the stage for what we'll deal with as the day goes on. So no surprise that we've already got these flood watches up. They've been up since the early morning hours. They include Little Rock and Fayetteville, who are quiet for now, but of course Wichita included in there and stretching all the way to the west towards Dodge City. This is part of a cold front that's going to be a slow mover and an impactful system here for multiple locations as the next 48 hours go on. Today, it's the heavy rain and the thunderstorms that I just showed you that will last into the afternoon hours and leave us with some unsettled kind of afternoon difficulties when it comes to some rain, but we'll also see the potential for some of these stronger storms to develop. The area includes maybe 5 million people, but still anywhere from Oklahoma City stretching to Memphis and down towards San Angelo has the potential to see some of those stronger storms. We are going to watch for the hail and potentially tornadoes to be on the table, gusty winds as well, but essentially that system is stretching from Texas to Maine, so we'll see some rain along and in front of it as the day goes on. By tomorrow, it shifts a little farther to the east, and we'll once again see some of those thunderstorms erupting along the system as it moves at quite a slow pace, but leaves us with the potential for some heavy rain. I'd specifically watch for parts of the Ohio Valley to see some of that additional rain and the flood risk to accompany that. One note about today's severe weather. Here's a little bit of a closer look. Tulsa, Little Rock, McAllister, Fort Smith, you have the best chance to see some of those stronger storms. And as far as the flash flooding is concerned, anywhere from essentially Lexington to Dallas and up through Springfield has the best chance to see some of that flash flooding. I wouldn't be surprised if we get upwards of maybe 5 to even close to 8 inches in some of these locations. So it is going to be, 2 days basically where we'll have to watch for the flooding across this region. But I think more widespread numbers, anywhere from an inch to 3 inches, guys. Moral of the story, we'll see the severe weather. We'll see the potential for flooding. So make sure you have a way to get those alerts across this region tonight.
It's like a lot of rain here over the next couple days. All right.
Good info. Thank you.
Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, top of their class. New U.S. News and World Report is out with its ranking of the top colleges across the country. We'll look at which schools made the cut.
Up first, though, after the break, statehood debate. Another key American ally breaking from the U.S. and formally recognizing a Palestinian state. More on the move and what it could mean in the Middle East and here at home. We'll be right back. We're back with the conflict in the Middle East taking center stage at the United Nations General Assembly here in New York. On Monday, France, one of the United States' oldest allies, formally recognized Palestinian statehood as dozens of world leaders gathered to rally support for a two-state solution to the war in Gaza.
More than 140 countries now recognize Palestine as a state, with the U.S. and Israel in opposition. In his announcement, French President Emmanuel Macron stressed the importance of this symbolic gesture.
Some might say it's too late. Others might say it's too early. But one thing is certain. We can no longer wait.
NBC News International correspondent Matt Bradley joins us from Tel Aviv with more on this. Matt, good morning. So what more can you tell us about yesterday's summit and what this formal recognition could mean in practice for the war in Gaza?
I mean, in practice for the war in Gaza, we're not necessarily going to see some sort of immediate effect. What this will likely do is kind of change the conversation around the Palestinians in both the Gaza Strip and in the West Bank. This isn't something that is necessarily going to change anything immediately, but it will allow, for example, some of these countries, because they are now going to be enjoined by their own laws to recognize the Palestinians as a state, they will be obliged by their legal systems in some cases to protect Palestinian sovereignty as a nation state. That could change the way they deal with Israel, particularly with regard to trade issues, and it will allow them to increase pressure on Israel, particularly when it comes to these humanitarian issues that we've been seeing over the past 2 years. So this is more the beginning of a potential, limiting of support for the Israelis, but it is a big shift. And we keep saying it's symbolic, but a lot of diplomacy, a lot of politics is symbolic, and this definitely will change the game for Israel. That's why we've been hearing so much anger across the political spectrum here in Israel about these moves. Guys.
Matt, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas addressed the meeting by Zoom after the Trump administration revoked his visa earlier this month. First, why did the White House make that decision, and what were some of Abbas's comments?
Well, Abbas was, obviously very supportive of what had just occurred in terms of recognition of the Palestinian state. The issue of the fact that he was speaking, again, from a remote location because he wasn't given this visa by the Trump administration, it was a startling scene. And it really did, in a way, probably serve Abbas's purpose in showing just how isolated the Palestinians remain, even as all of these Western countries give it or recognize its statehood. Now, the United States is obliged to allow foreign leaders to attend the United Nations as part of the founding treaties in 1947 between the U.S. and the United Nations. But there is legislation in the U.S. that basically allows for the U.S. to limit access to United Nations officials or other officials based on security concerns. And that's exactly what the Trump administration said when they barred that visa from Mahmoud Abbas. But again, this was a striking image, and it just goes to show not only the Palestinians' isolation, but the Americans and the Israelis, the Americans hosting this huge conference in which all of these allies of the United States and Israel are pledging to support or at least recognize a Palestinian state. That's a huge change.
Matt, before we let you go, I do want to ask about the situation on the ground. The Gaza Health Ministry has said that 2 Gaza City hospitals have been taken out of service due to the escalation of Israel's ground offensive there. What is the latest?
Yeah, well, we've been seeing this regularly for the past 2 years. The Palestinians would tell you that the Israelis are systematically and deliberately targeting medical installations. We've seen a lot of them taken out of service over the past 2 years. The Israelis will say that a lot of these medical installations and hospitals and other facilities are coming into their crosshairs because Hamas is using them and using their patients and occupants as human shields. And this is an ongoing debate. But again, we're seeing 2 major hospitals closing. And this is limiting access to a population of people that already has very limited access to medical care and food.
All right, Matt Bradley, thank you very much.
For more on this, we are honored to be joined by French Foreign Minister Jean-Noel Barrot. Minister, good to have you with us. Important conversation to have here, so we want to jump into some of these issues. Of course, we're talking about France recognizing Palestinian statehood. Just now, when Matt Bradley said, most politics is symbolic, you said yes out loud, sitting here next to us. Talk about how symbolic this is, what you hope this accomplishes, and just what you hope to accomplish this week when it comes to what's happening in the Middle East.
Well, I think what happened yesterday is a giant step towards peace, because you get a huge majority of the international community doing several things. Some of us recognize Palestinian statehood, and this is important to have a political horizon if you want to reach a ceasefire and hostage deal. But the others, the Arab countries in particular, they made historic commitment towards the security of Israel. For the first time in history, they said they aspire to join a common regional architecture along the state of Israel and the future state of Palestine. And finally, Mahmoud Abbas, what did he say? Well, for the first time, he condemned the 7th of October, he condemned Hamas, called for his disarmament, and said that he would do the necessary reforms in order for the state of Palestine to represent no threat whatsoever for the state of Israel. So what's happened yesterday is indeed realigning everyone towards this 2-state solution that has been forever seen as the only way to bring back peace and stability in the Middle East.
Importantly, though, at this point, the U.S. has repeatedly rejected recognition of Palestinian statehood. We even have Secretary of State Marco Rubio calling it performative and specifically saying that it emboldens Hamas. What do you make of critics of this plan and of the decision to recognize Palestinian statehood?
So first, it is the opposite. Palestinian statehood is the end of Hamas. And the proof for that is, again, that those 142 countries that voted 10 days ago on Friday, September 12th at the UN, for the first time, because France and other countries were going to recognize, they condemned Hamas for their crimes. They called for disarmament and exclusion of Hamas of all future role in Palestine and Gaza. So in other terms, what we achieved, what France achieved, what President Macron achieved, is the final isolation of Hamas. And that's why, in some way, our efforts are going to be seen gradually as very complementary to the Abraham Accord logics that President Trump implemented in his first term. Because after all, what was the Abraham Accord logic? It was basically to get Arab countries surrounding Israel to make commitments towards the security of Israel. And this is basically what we're paving the way for with the initiative that took place yesterday in New York.
U.S. and Israel seem to be pretty isolated from everyone else right now. Can you change President Trump's mind?
I think President Trump is going to realize that along with Saudi Arabia, our partner in this initiative, we've paved the way for the new generation of Abraham Accord. I think President Trump really wants to put an end to the killing, to starvation, to famine. He really wants to find a way towards peace and stability in the Middle East. Our initiative provides for basically the horizon, the destination. Now we need to get together to agree on the path forward. And this starts with liberation of hostages and unhindered entry of humanitarian help and ceasefire. Then an interim period in Gaza with an international stabilization mission. And I think that the Trump administration is gradually moving to this idea that we've entertained for a long time now. And of course, down the road, because the Arab countries request that, is a Palestinian statehood, a demilitarized and de-radicalized Palestinian state that will live in peace and security alongside Israel.
Before we let you go, we do want to turn to the war in Ukraine. Also, of course, a conversation this week here at the United Nations General Assembly, and something that you and your government have also been involved with in terms of trying to bring that war to an end. But at this point, do you believe that Russia has any interest in ending the war, especially as we've recently seen incursions into airspaces not even over Ukraine?
It's very simple. We, Ukrainians, Europeans, also Americans, we want peace, but Russia wants war. Vladimir Putin has defaulted on all the commitments he made to President Trump. And he's failing to make progress on the front line. Look at the east of Ukraine. It's been 3 years now. He's captured less than 1% of Ukrainian territory. So what is he doing right now? To hide his failure on the front line, when everyone was saying this is a huge army, they're going to conquer Ukraine in a few weeks, he's failing. So he's hiding this by sending missiles and drones by hundreds onto Ukrainian cities on the back. And he's also doing what he did last week, meaning unacceptable provocations and dangerous, irresponsible escalations. He's violating the airspace of sovereign European countries. Today, a very important meeting will take place at NATO, our security alliance, where the allies, alongside with the US, are going to decide what's going to be our political, operational posture. What rules of engagement are we going to use next time such a thing happens? We cannot let such an escalation happen just because Mr. Putin is failing to make progress on the front.
We only have a few seconds left here, but obviously we had the Trump-Putin meeting in Alaska. Do you think that accomplished anything? I mean, what do you want to see from America when it comes to dealing with Russia?
I commend President Trump's effort to try to bring Vladimir Putin to a peace negotiation. But I have to observe that President Putin said in 2 weeks, when he was in Alaska, I will agree to a meeting with President Zelensky to start those peace negotiations. And this meeting never took place. And that's just one of the many, many commitments he made to the US and to President Trump in particular that he defaulted on.
French Foreign Minister Jean-Noel Barrot, we appreciate your time this morning and for speaking with us about these incredibly important issues.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming by. Coming up, one doctor on a medical mission to give back to her home country.
To be the person that was given such an incredible opportunity was an amazing gift for me.
We're going to take you to the African country of Malawi, where her life story has turned into her life's purpose. This is Morning News Now.
We're back now with our weekly mental health check-in. This week, we are diving into what it really means to set healthy boundaries and how they can actually strengthen our closest relationships.
Plus, get this. There's new research that shows how measuring stress through hair samples in kids with chronic illnesses could help doctors predict who's most at risk for anxiety or depression.
Joining us now with more on these mental health headlines is psychotherapist Dr. Robbie Ludwig. Dr. Ludwig, always great to have you. Good morning. So let's start with this topic of setting boundaries. Like I said, this comes from an article in the New York Times pointing out that people can sometimes confuse boundaries with like controlling others, but kind of actually in reality that those boundaries are more about managing our own behavior. What's the best way to create healthy ones?
Yeah, so this article was interesting in terms of highlighting you can't really tell somebody how to behave, but you can understand what types of behaviors and interactions work for you. It's all about increasing your own mental health. So if you are with a person who is talking in a way that you feel is harmful to you, you could ask them to switch topics. You could decide to interact with a friend maybe who is flaky and doesn't show up less frequently. It's about having flexibility in terms of using clear statements. You could be silent with your boundaries too and not respond to comments that are offensive or unpleasant. And it's just keeping in mind who you are and what works for you and feeling comfortable with your own responses to people in your life.
Because that's what you can control, and you can't always control other people. All right, so I want to explain this one more time. There's a new study. It suggests that measuring stress through hair samples could help predict which children with chronic illnesses are most at risk, for mental health conditions like anxiety, like depression. First of all, how is this even possible, and how important is it to try and identify these risks early on?
Yeah, so there was a study that looked at biomarkers in the hair, specifically with cortisol, and they discovered that those who had higher levels of cortisol, especially with these kids with chronic physical ailments, that it was a predetermination for increased anxiety and depression. And those with lower cortisol levels had less issues. So it's a way to non-intrusively identify certain mental health risks early on. And we always want to think about early intervention when it comes to treating kids or adults. So this is a fascinating discovery that may help us discover mental health issues sooner rather than later and make those early interventions.
And finally, Dr. Ludwig, we talked about this at the top of the show, retirement. I mean, it's clearly a goal for most people, but a study actually shows that it doesn't boost everyone's mental health the same way. What are the factors that impact retirees, that post-retirement well-being that can make it a little tricky?
Yeah, so they found that there was increased happiness amongst those who had higher earnings or were middle class, that there was a sense of joy and appreciation, at least initially when it came to retirement. But those in the lower socioeconomic ranges, those who were female, unmarried, or who had physically demanding jobs and then were in retirement, they had more challenges when it came to benefiting emotionally from their new non-work life. So it's very interesting to see, and also, again, to realize who needs more support.
All right, Dr. Ludwig, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Let's stick with health news. A Texas doctor is going viral for giving back to the country where she was born. Every year, she returns to Malawi, where she's the founder of an orphanage, a clinic, and a school. NBC News Now anchor Kate Snow reports on the medical mission that is now much bigger than one person.
When Dr. Annie Alaniz first arrives back at the clinic she started in the East African nation of Malawi, everyone wants to say hi. For the past 12 years, she's performed life-altering surgeries.
Dr. Annie Alaniz brings a medical team from the U.S. back to her home country of Malawi.
We first discovered her work on TikTok.
They bring all of their own equipment and supplies from the U.S.
But her story is so much bigger. Annie Alaniz grew up here, the eldest of 8 children.
We carried water on our heads. I remember the closest well that we had close to our house was about 5 miles away. So on school days, I recall we used to get up like at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Her father practiced medicine, and she learned from her mom that pregnancy in Malawi was dangerous.
Before she would go in to deliver, take me around the house and show me where everything was, sort of preparing me for the possibility that if she didn't come home with that birth, then I would be able to take over the family.
It made Annie want to study women's health care. And when she was 16, an American doctor gave her the chance, moving her to the U.S. and paying for her education.
I tell people it felt like winning the lottery. To be the person that was given such an incredible opportunity was an amazing gift for me, one that, has completely changed the trajectory of my life.
The first time she returned to Malawi, she helped at her father's clinic and watched a young girl who could have easily been saved in the U.S. die of dehydration.
I think that was probably my epiphany at that point. I started to realize then that was my life, that I could have been that little girl who could have died of dehydration, but that somehow, I was spared. I really sort of started to ask myself and really ask, what is my purpose in all of this?
Dr. Alaniz founded Pathawira, meaning safe haven, a complex with an orphanage, school, and clinic. The clinic now treats over 30,000 patients a year, like Asinder Congo, who sells tomatoes for a living. She's had chronic pain from very large uterine fibroids for years. Now she would finally get surgery. She says, right now I'm so happy that my problems are coming to an end. I lacked peace in my life and wasn't living freely. It feels like freedom. Dorothy Simfukwe's surgery went well too, and she'll be able to attend her son's college graduation.
I'm so excited. My pain, no more pain. I'm a happy woman now.
It's not easy for the medical team. The lights go out often, and they operate by flashlight or headlamps. Dr. Alaniz performed over 50 surgeries on this recent trip in the one OR at a local hospital. In November, they're opening a new surgical center with 4 more operating rooms.
All those things happened because I had a dream and I shared it, even when I didn't have resources, and people came along and joined me.
Kate Snow, NBC News.
Incredible story there from Kate. Well, coming up, TikTok on the clock to seal a deal with an American buyer. Now we're learning more about that deal and how it could change what you see when you scroll.
And it's the go-to guide for some college hopefuls. New this morning, we're going to go through U.S. News & World Report's best colleges for 2026. That's next on Morning News Now. All right, the school year might just be getting underway, but U.S. News & World Report is already out with the latest rankings for the nation's best colleges for 2026.
Yeah, the 41st edition, released this morning, evaluates nearly 1,700 schools across the country, serving as a trusted guide for students and families navigating that college search.
Joining us now for more on this is Lamont Jones. He's the managing editor of education at U.S. News & World Report. Lamont, good to have you with us. So as we mentioned, this is the 41st edition of the list. Before we dive into which schools made the cut, it is important to ask how U.S. News determines the rankings. And I do ask this because you have faced some backlash in recent years over the accuracy of the data, much of which is self-reported by universities. So what should we know about that?
Well, good morning, and thanks for having me. At U.S. News, we refined our process of ranking colleges over the decades, 4 decades, and we use 17 indicators that largely measure how well colleges educate and graduate students. So outcome measures like graduation rates, like job attainment, social mobility, they comprise about half of the methodology. And we do have a 4-step process by which we gather, verify information from the schools and other sources so that we aim to be as accurate as possible, which is why we gained respect over the decades and a great reputation for these rankings.
All right, now to everyone wants to know here, which colleges landed at the top this year, and how's it compare to years past?
Well, in the national universities category, the #1 national university is Princeton University in New Jersey, followed by MIT, second, and Harvard third. Among national liberal arts colleges, Williams College and Amherst College, both in Massachusetts, are 1 and 2 respectively. And in third place is the U.S. Naval Academy. There's not a lot of volatility this year, a lot of major changes in the rankings. The methodology was hardly changed at all. We saw not much of a need to change it this year. So there wasn't a lot of huge shifts up and down. The top 10, there's only one new entrant in each of those 2 top 10 lists this year.
And I'm happy to say my Northwestern University is tied for 7th this year, so top 10, yay. All right, so I know this edition also includes specialized rankings from best value schools to social mobility to HBCUs, all of which are so important to so many people. Walk us through some of these categories and why they're important.
Yes, these other sets of rankings are so important because often families and students are looking for a school. They have a particular affinity, whether it's a historically Black college or university, or whether this person is a veteran or is in the armed services, a school that's friendly to them and their needs, whether someone wants a public school. So we rank those different areas. For example, best colleges for veterans. For national colleges, that's the University of Chicago at number 1 and Cornell at number 2. For best value schools, the lower the cost in terms of lower cost and higher value in terms of outcomes and instruction. In the national universities, Princeton's number 1, and Berea College in Kentucky is best value school for national liberal arts colleges. So we rank those different categories to give readers more information.
All right, Lamont Jones, thank you so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it. A lot of folks will be looking at the list today.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yep.
Well, now let's take a look at what is making financial headlines this morning. We're going to start with NVIDIA making a big move into AI.
CNBC's Savannah Henao joins us with that and some other money headlines. Savannah, good morning.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Savannah. Good morning to you. Yes, so NVIDIA will invest $100 billion. That'll be in OpenAI as the artificial intelligence company plans to build out AI data centers featuring NVIDIA's AI processors. Now, speaking with CNBC, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang called the partnership monumental in size as the link between his company and OpenAI, it continues to grow. The company said this new project will need 10 gigawatts of power. That's roughly equivalent to the power consumed by 8 million American homes. The White House announced today that Oracle will oversee the security of Americans' data as part of a new deal to avert a TikTok ban in the U.S. So that includes a copy of TikTok's powerful recommendation algorithm, which will be licensed from China to an American investor group that will oversee the app in the U.S. Oracle will also be an investor along with private equity firm Silver Lake. And Bad Bunny's concert residency in Puerto Rico came to an end, but left big gains for the local economy. According to Wells Fargo, nearly 600,000 people turned out to see him over the course of 31 concert dates, which added roughly $400 million to the island's economy, guys. Wow. Yeah.
Great to see that.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, Savannah.
You got it.
All right, well, coming up, it's a different kind of bear market. We're talking about the beloved Build-A-Bear brand, which is reporting record revenue, even in this uncertain economy.
More on how these cuddly DIY teddies powered one of the best performances on the stock market all year. Bear with us. This is Morning News.
Finally this hour, it's not just teddy bears making waves at Build-A-Bear.
It's like the opposite of Fat Bear Week. The cuddly creatures are crushing it on the stock market as well. NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Chung explains.
Call it a bear market on a bull run.
The stock has went from $2 to $67. What is going on?
Build-A-Bear Workshop, adored by kids for their personalized stuffed animals.
You can choose your own new furry friend.
Is one of the best performers in the stock market this year, rising over 50% since the beginning of the year and over 2,000% in the last 5 years. Build-A-Bear Workshop not only owing its success to the iconic bear in that classic box, but also to collaborations appealing to millennials like Pikachu with Pokemon and, of course, Hello Kitty. CEO Sharon Price John calls it kid-dulting.
The kids who first came to Build-A-Bear way back in 1997 were having kids of their own that were the right age for Build-A-Bear.
John says in the face of tariffs, the company is trying to offer affordable price points, starting with small pre-stuffed animals around $10, and with declining foot traffic at the mall, positioning itself in cruise ships and amusement parks too.
Malls had been the epicenter where families went for fun and entertainment. That's evolved a bit, and the brand and the company has to change with the consumer.
The experience of stuffing and loving, tugging at Build-A-Bear's customers' heartstrings and investors too. Brian Chung, NBC News, The Workshop.
Did you ever build a bear?
I sure did.
You did, okay.
Did you?
No.
Oh, yeah, love it.
That is going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us, though. The news continues right now. Good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, President Trump in New York City set to tout his America First agenda before world leaders at this year's United Nations General Assembly. What we are expecting to hear from the commander-in-chief today in the face of conflicts both abroad and at home. Plus, reaction from the medical community after Mr. Trump pushed an unproven link between the use of a common pain reliever during pregnancy and autism in children. Also this morning, late-night host Jimmy Kimmel set to return to the airwaves on ABC tonight. Comes nearly a week after that controversial suspension over comments he made about Charlie Kirk's alleged killer. But folks in some parts of the country still won't be able to watch. More on the free speech back and forth that's putting America's media giants in the hot seat. Plus, Karen Reed back in court this week, just months after being cleared of the murder of her former police officer boyfriend. The new civil lawsuit that once again has Reed and her lawyers playing defense after a pair of trials captivated the nation. And later in the hour, we'll introduce you to NASA's newest class of astronauts as they prepare to suit up to potentially go where no man or woman has gone before. That childhood dream coming true for some adults.
It's so amazing. Can't wait to meet them.
All right, let's begin this hour here in New York as the 80th United Nations General Assembly is set to get underway this morning.
Yeah, President Trump will deliver an address to world leaders with the backdrop of several global challenges, including war in the Middle East and Ukraine. The president is set to push his America First agenda on the world stage and is expected to tout his administration's accomplishments. NBC News senior White House correspondent Garrett Haake has more on what we can expect.
President Trump in New York City this morning set to address world leaders at the 80th UN General Assembly. In a speech, the White House says will emphasize the president's so-called America First worldview.
President Trump will deliver a major speech touting the renewal of American strength around the world, his historic accomplishments in just 8 months.
Still, the speech comes at a precarious moment on the world stage. With wars raging in Ukraine and Gaza, despite the president's efforts to play peacemaker.
I got to get Russia, Ukraine, and it's horrible what's happening. The hatred between Putin and Zelensky is very substantial. And of course, Gaza's a basic disaster.
Israel's now escalating its attacks on Hamas, launching new strikes on Gaza Monday. Even before the UN General Assembly has begun, there's a growing, though purely symbolic, push for Palestinian statehood in defiance of Israel and the U.S. With French President Emmanuel Macron calling the move essential to restarting peace talks. Australia, Portugal, and Canada joining France and the UK in recognizing Palestinian statehood. But Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas appearing remotely after he and other senior officials were denied U.S. visas to attend the conference. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warns the push for Palestinian statehood would benefit Hamas, saying after October 7th, recognizing a Palestinian state now is giving a huge reward to terrorism. That position echoed by President Trump.
You can't forget October 7th either. People are forgetting October 7th. They forget it too quickly. That was one of the worst days in world history.
Much of today's real diplomatic work will take place after the president's speech, when he's expected to meet with Ukraine's President Zelensky, the head of the European Union, and a group of presidents from Muslim-majority countries where the war in Gaza is expected to be the top focus.
All right, Garrett, thank you.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio will also take part in the UN General Assembly. He's set to meet with world leaders today, as well as the UN Security Council. Earlier this morning on Today, Secretary Rubio spoke about the challenges the world is currently facing. Here's part of that conversation.
What does victory look like? Is it the total eradication of Hamas, or do you still see a pathway to a political compromise there?
Well, first of all, the goal is not to end the war. The goal is to have peace. And obviously, you can't have peace as long as Hamas exists. This is a group dedicated to the destruction of the Jewish state. They've said it and repeatedly said that. And that's what they've demonstrated throughout their existence. So it's not about eradicating Hamas as much as it is about peace. You can't have peace as long as Hamas exists. By the way, I think as an elemental step of that is the hostages need to be released. There are 20 living hostages. They should all be released. The bodies of the deceased should also be released. There should never have been any hostages. So I think that has to happen.
We are roughly a month out from that summit in Alaska between the president and President Putin. Since then, a roughly 50% increase in drone attacks, 50% increase in missile attacks as well. Is it possible that we misread President Putin's intentions in Alaska?
No, I think we've always known that his intentions are to take Donetsk, for example, and he's defined that openly. I think the hope we have, since we're the only country in the world that can really talk to both countries involved in this, we're the only ones that can talk to Ukraine and Russia, and everyone's encouraged us to play that role. At some point, that role might end. As you can see, the president's already repeatedly expressed his deep disappointment at the direction that Putin is taking this, even after Alaska. And at some point, he may have to decide to impose new sanctions.
And our thanks to our friends over at Today for that conversation.
And we have breaking news from right here in New York City, just as the UN General Assembly is getting underway for the day. The Secret Service is sharing this morning that they found and dismantled a network of electronic devices in the New York tri-state area that they say could conduct a wide range of telecommunication attacks.
Officials say they uncovered more than 100,000 SIM cards and 300 servers that could shut down the cellular network and interfere with emergency responses. The Secret Service said there was no clear link to the UN General Assembly, but the proximity of these devices to the conference led them to disrupt the network and mitigate the potential threat. The investigation is ongoing.
Well, President Trump is pushing a link between the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy and autism in children. But decades of evidence from the medical and scientific community says the drug, commonly known as Tylenol, is safe. NBC News correspondent Ann Thompson has more on this. Hi, Ann. Good morning.
Good morning, Savannah. The nation's health secretary announced back in April that his department would release a report on the cause of autism. But 6 months later, the administration did not reveal any new evidence, instead announcing new actions against the use of the common drug acetaminophen during pregnancy, despite experts saying that the existing science does not support the action.
If you're pregnant, don't take Tylenol.
President Trump and health officials on Monday tying acetaminophen, the generic name for Tylenol, to an increased risk of autism, despite decades of research that says it's safe. Acetaminophen can help with fever and pain relief and is taken by more than half of pregnant women worldwide. Trump now saying officials will recommend limiting Tylenol during pregnancy unless it's medically necessary.
In cases of extremely high fever, that you feel you can't tough it out, you can't do it.
The announcement comes after New York's Mount Sinai published an analysis of more than 45 studies last month, with some finding acetaminophen use during pregnancy may be linked to an increased risk of autism, but urged further study. Many other large-scale studies, including one published in JAMA last year, found acetaminophen use during pregnancy was not associated with children's risk of autism, ADHD, or intellectual disability. Ahead of the administration's report, the maker of Tylenol, Kenvue, strongly disagreeing with the White House, saying in a statement that a decade of rigorous research confirms there is no credible evidence linking acetaminophen to autism. Stephen Fleischman, doctor and president of the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, supporting that.
Our recommendations are, if you need it, it is a safe medication for you to use in pregnancy.
President Trump also saying without evidence, he thinks vaccines like those for measles, mumps, and rubella and hepatitis B should be spread out over time.
Don't let them pump your baby up with the largest pile of stuff you've ever seen in your life.
The American Academy of Pediatrics calling that dangerous and misleading. Adding spacing out or delaying vaccines means children will not have immunity against these diseases at times when they are most at risk. Now, the administration is announcing the National Institute of Health is launching a $50 million autism data science initiative to, quote, turbocharge autism research. The FDA is also going to approve a prescription drug called leucovorin as a treatment to alleviate symptoms of autism. But like acetaminophen, there is little evidence that leucovorin works for autistic kids.
All right, Anne, thank you. Well, let's get more on this with NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar. Dr. Azar, always great to have you with us. So let's just start here. I think it's confusing. We're hearing there's not reputable evidence. We're hearing studies referenced. What does the science tell us about a link at all between acetaminophen, autism, pregnancy?
Yes. The headline is that there have been no studies that definitively show a cause and effect relationship between exposure to Tylenol and the development of autism. What some studies have shown, on the other hand, is a potential association. This research has been going on for over 10 years, so there's a decent amount of research that's out there. Again, some studies have shown a potential association. Other studies have not shown a potential association. There are strengths and weaknesses with all the studies that have been reviewed. But the headline is that proving cause and effect, showing cause and effect, not there. It's just not there.
Obviously, there's going to be confusion from people who maybe see some of a headline, don't dig into the issue very much. So if you're a pregnant woman and you have these questions right now, what's your advice, especially if you're a pregnant woman who is experiencing pain and wants to figure out the best way to treat it?
As Anne stated in her piece, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists reasserted yesterday that use of Tylenol is both safe and appropriate for treating fever and for treating severe pain in pregnancy. It has always been the case that we as physicians recommend to pregnant women to limit the use of most medications during pregnancy. And if they need to use a particular medicine for a particular reason, and again, specifically fever and pain, which are both untreated, can lead to adverse outcomes for mother and for baby, to use the lowest dose for the shortest amount of time. And that's basically what ACOG said again yesterday, which is essentially what doctors have been doing all along. I should also mention that the FDA's letter to physicians, which was much more measured than the press conference would have led you to believe. And they essentially said the same thing. There is no causality here. There are potential associations. We still recommend the use of Tylenol, especially for fever, in consultation with your healthcare provider.
We also want to ask you about what we heard the president mention on vaccines there, sort of this idea that too many immunizations are being given at the same time. Is there any research that supports that? And if so, why not space them out? What's the danger to that?
The answer is there is no research to suggest that the number of vaccines that are given in one inoculation, for example, MMR combined, is dangerous for the baby. What I think people fail to sometimes understand is that the amount of stimulus, what we call an antigen in a vaccine, is minuscule compared to the amount they would get if they were exposed to the actual virus. So it is a small amount that is triggering your immune response, right, to develop immunity. The danger of spacing out is simply that a lot of people will not come back for their second shot or their third shot, which is why, especially for something like MMR, pediatricians want to make sure that children are covered. If you start spacing everything out, you're going to be at the doctor's office every week. Now, that's not to say that you can't come up with a plan if you're a reliable caregiver. I did that with my kids. I was like, you know what? I'm going to come back for this one next time. I want to give them 2 today, or I want to give them 3 today. And the pediatrician knew that she could trust me as a mom, and we did that. And that's okay. And that was not necessarily science-based, but I'm just giving an example of how you can do that. It's not dangerous to do that. The problem is that we worry about people not coming back for their shots, which is why the schedule is the way it is. And it's not dangerous the way it is.
All right, Dr. Azar, such important information. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Another major story we're covering this morning, Jimmy Kimmel Show is returning to the air tonight. Disney announced yesterday the show is coming back to ABC nearly a week after it suspended Kimmel over his comments about the Charlie Kirk assassination. But not every ABC station has agreed to air the show. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz joins us now to explain the latest. Liz, good morning.
Hey, Joe, good morning. This is going to be the first time we hear from Jimmy Kimmel himself following his suspension. And while many are applauding ABC's decision to bring the show back, one of the country's largest TV station groups says it still does not plan to air the show.
It's Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Jimmy Kimmel set to return to ABC tonight. Overnight, Stephen Colbert celebrating.
Our long national late nightmare is over.
It comes nearly a week after Disney and ABC indefinitely suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live following pressure from the head of the FCC over comments Kimmel made about Charlie Kirk's alleged shooter.
The MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
In a statement, Disney saying they initially suspended production to avoid further inflaming a tense situation at an emotional moment for our country, calling Kimmel's comments ill-timed and thus insensitive, saying they're bringing him back after spending the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy. Sinclair, one of the largest station groups in the country, saying it still won't run Kimmel's show on any of its ABC affiliates, writing, discussions with ABC are ongoing as we evaluate the show's potential return. Previously, Sinclair had demanded a direct apology from Kimmel to the Kirk family and a donation to the family and Kirk's organization. Following conservative outrage, Disney suspended Kimmel after an apparent threat from FCC Chairman Brendan Carr.
We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
On Monday, Carr insisting government pressure played no role in Kimmel's suspension.
Jimmy Kimmel is in the situation that he's in because of his ratings, not because of anything that's happened at the federal government level.
Disney's new decision coming amid growing protests. More than 400 celebrities, including Tom Hanks, Jennifer Aniston, and Meryl Streep, condemning the decision to pull Kimmel off the air. And the stars of ABC's The View also speaking out.
Someone can say something they shouldn't and get taken off the air, but the government cannot apply pressure to force someone to be silenced.
Now, Sinclair says they plan to air news programming instead of Kimmel. It's still unclear if other local station groups like Nexstar will follow Sinclair's lead and also choose to preempt the show. We have reached out to Nexstar and to Jimmy Kimmel, but we have not heard back. And the biggest unknown of all is, will Kimmel apologize? We'll find out tonight, Joe.
All right, Liz, thank you.
Time now for a check on your morning news now weather.
Meteorologist Angie Lastman's tracking the severe weather across the plains today. Angie, good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning to you. We need the umbrella. We need to have a way to get the alerts because we've got heavy rain and the potential for some flooding and severe storms to develop as the day goes on. Already pretty active across the middle of the country, even stretching back towards Colorado and down through the central plains. We've got rain at the very least and thunderstorms at the very most. Right now, plenty of heavy rain prompting already some flood alerts as we gear up for more of this activity as the day goes on. So we'll be watching for the thunderstorms to produce that heavy rainfall and some of those stronger storms later into the day. Here's the area we're watching for the stronger storms. You can see the focus anywhere from Oklahoma City to Memphis and down through San Angelo, but places like Tulsa included in that slight risk area as this front works its way to the east. It's going to stretch today from Texas to Maine. So along it, you'll notice it is unsettled, but I think the biggest focus area we have for stronger storms is going to be across parts of the southern plains, the Mississippi Valley. And then as we get into tomorrow, the front works its way a little farther to the south and brings all that rain with it. So we've got some activity across parts of the southeast. It'll be a little wet in some pockets. Parts of the mid-Atlantic and northeast will see this as well. But we're most concerned for the heavy rain and that flood risk across the Ohio Valley for tomorrow. So heads up, that's going to be on the table for your Wednesday across that region. Today, though, here's the area that we're watching for flash flooding. Lexington, Paducah, Fayetteville, Springfield, even back towards Denver. You saw saw that we're dealing with already some showers in that area this morning. So this kind of just sets the stage for some really saturated grounds and some pretty impressive rainfall, honestly, as we get through tomorrow. Some of these spots, I think widespread, we'll see anywhere from 1 inch to maybe 3 inches, possibly up to 4 inches. But localized spots could see 5, 6, 7, even as high as 8 inches of rain over the next 48 hours. So that's why we're concerned. Remember not to drive through those flooded roadways. That's going to be something that you could see a potential of through the day today, specifically into the afternoon and evening hours, and then again into tomorrow across some of these regions. And boy, we've really got active conditions across the tropics. We've got 2 areas that we're watching, 2 tropical disturbances. We've got 93L and 94L. 94L likely to be a depression by the time we get into Friday. These are 2 tropical waves that are still kind of they don't really have their act together. They're fairly unorganized. They're areas of thunderstorms, but they bear watching here as we get through the next couple of days. 93L has the potential, a really high potential, both of them, honestly, 90% chance of becoming a tropical depression by the time we get into Thursday. So this is going to bear watching again as we head through at least the end of our work week. Here's the areas that we're watching for the development. Remember, I said those timelines Thursday and Friday. Where these will go, what happens down the line, that still is in question. We've got still a bit of time before we see that come into better focus. But in the meantime, we're going to be watching these 2 disturbances as we get through the next couple of days, guys, and head closer to the weekend. We'll have a better idea of exactly what it means. Likely, we'll see one move out to sea. The other one we'll watch for potential impacts.
All right. Thank you, Angie. Appreciate it.
Much more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including the newest class of NASA astronauts getting ready to go where no man or woman has gone before.
First, after the break, Karen Reed back in court. The civil trial that's once again putting her in front of a judge just months after she was acquitted of murder. That's next. Welcome back. After 2 criminal trials for the murder of her police officer boyfriend, Karen Reed was back in court on Monday.
But this time she's facing a civil suit. It's filed by the family of Officer John O'Keefe. NBC News correspondent Emily Aketa is here now with the details. Hey, Emily, good morning.
Hey, guys, good morning to you. Karen Reed may be the defendant in this wrongful death lawsuit, but her attorneys are going on offense, hoping to launch allegations of their own against investigators and witnesses involved in both of her previous criminal trials.
Defendant not guilty or guilty?
Just months after Karen Reed was acquitted of murder in her second criminal trial, the 45-year-old back in a Massachusetts courtroom to face a civil suit.
Nothing like criminal, though. It's unpleasant, but the worst is over for me.
The wrongful death lawsuit alleges Reed plowed into her police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, nicknamed JJ, with her SUV while she was drunk, inflicting emotional distress on O'Keefe's family, who filed the case. That includes his teenage niece, Kaylee, who was cared for by O'Keefe after both of her parents died.
She tells Kaylee something happened to JJ. He's dead. He's been hit by a plow. Did I hit him? All to a 14-year-old child woken up from sleep who's already lost 2 parents.
But Reed's defense maintains she never struck O'Keefe. And in addition to trying to dismiss part of the civil lawsuit, in a surprise move, her defense revealing they plan to pursue their own claims against 10 others for violating Reed's civil rights. Among them, Massachusetts State Police, the town of Canton, investigators, and those who had been at the house party where O'Keefe's body was found in 2022.
Ms. Reed was wrongfully targeted, maliciously prosecuted.
The civil suit had been paused as Reed's murder retrial played out in the national spotlight this summer. Her first trial ended in a hung jury. Ultimately, she was acquitted of the most serious charges and convicted of driving under the influence, for which she was sentenced to 1-year probation. Now, legal experts say the burden of proof is much lower in the civil case, with O'Keefe's family seeking at least $50,000 in damages, while Karen Reed says this time she's going to fight back.
What would you want to be paid to go through what I've been through? That's the number.
The civil suit also targets the 2 bars the couple visited shortly before O'Keefe's death for negligently serving alcohol to Reed, who they say was already drunk. The bars have denied any legal responsibility and joined Reed's team in efforts to get parts of the case dismissed. Now, the judge still needs to determine whether he'll let Reed's lawyers introduce those 10 other defendants I mentioned in what he called an already behemoth case. At this point, guys, the judge warns this case could trail well into 2027.
27, not 26.
That's right. Yeah, it's a matter of years, not months at this point.
Yeah, my goodness. All right, Emily, thank you so much.
So let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos for more on this. Danny, good morning. So first of all, let's just start with the basics here. The major differences between the criminal cases and the civil ones, as Emily mentioned, different burdens of proof, a preponderance of the evidence versus reasonable doubt. What else should we know here?
First of all, I'm going beyond 2027. I'm going 2028 if this ever goes to trial, which I think is not likely. Civil cases take a long time. Now, as to the burden of proof, you might think that because Karen Reed was acquitted, she's going to have a similar result in her civil case. But actually, as counterintuitive as this sounds, the opposite may be true because of the burden of proof. Beyond a reasonable doubt is the highest standard in criminal law. You only need a preponderance of evidence in a civil case. That's 51%. Essentially. So now the plaintiffs can grab all of this evidence and take it over to the civil case and try to use it to prove a much lesser burden. I'll just add too, Emily mentioned what we call a dram shop act against the bars. Anyone who watched those videos, they had surveillance video in the bar. The standard, and I've handled these cases, is visible intoxication. And actually, I don't recall seeing Karen Reed stumbling around and then being served afterwards. She may have been served a lot, but was she visibly intoxicated?
Danny, also, as we heard from Emily's piece, Reed's lawyers are now saying they want to bring their own claims in this case. How would that actually work? Is that something the judge would allow?
Yeah, I handle cases like this too, actually. They're either wrongful conviction or what you might call Section 1983. Not every acquittal results in a lawsuit against the government or against the police. You have to show specific things, either that your constitutional rights were violated or that you were convicted and you're clearly innocent. So it's a high burden to meet, but strategically, it's a really good idea because you want to put that pressure right back on the plaintiffs who are suing you if you have a legitimate cause of action. And realistically, suing the individuals as opposed to the police isn't really going to yield any major money. It's probably more of a pressure point, but it's raising all the stakes for all of these plaintiffs. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them reconsider their case as a result.
So 2027, or as you said, possibly even 2028. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. What happens next?
Next in a civil case, well, it's pretty boring. I mean, once you get past the pleading stage, then you start discovery. None of that is really conducted in public. There will be depositions. They'll probably be videotaped. Whether those are released to the press, I don't know. Probably not. There might be some sort of mutual agreement to keep discovery private. But that's really going to be about at least a couple years before you even get to the close of discovery. After that, you get to motions for summary judgment. There really aren't a lot of fireworks in a civil case the way there are in a criminal case in terms of hearings and conferences and all these other things. The case just moves glacially toward trial until you can get to that summary judgment phase. But even that is something that's usually decided on the papers and not with an exciting hearing to watch.
All right, we'll see if we have a conclusion by the 2028 Summer Olympics in LA. Thanks, Danny. I appreciate it.
All right, well, developing news this morning. China and Hong Kong are bracing for Super Typhoon Ragasa just one day after the deadly storm devastated the Philippines.
NBC News international correspondent Claudia Lavanga joined us from Rome with our world news in 60 seconds. Claudia, good morning.
Joe Savannah, good morning. Well, that's right. Authorities in Hong Kong said they evacuated at least 400,000 people and cancelled at least 700 flights as the most powerful typhoon on Earth so far this year is edging closer. Now, the super typhoon, which carries winds of up to 140 miles per hour, already battered the Philippines, killing at least 3 people there. Let's go to the Dominican Republic now, where this week authorities say they recovered 377 packages of cocaine from one of the Venezuelan boats recently destroyed by the U.S. in international waters. The Dominican Republic worked with U.S. authorities to locate this speedboat, which they claim was planning to dock in the Caribbean country before transporting the drugs to the U.S. And let's end this tour of the world in France, where an American woman won the Cheesemonger World Cup. Emilia D'Albero beat the competition from Europe with a 3D cheese sculpture depicting the faces of the moon. She won the gold medal and the $2,900 prize, but she said the best reward will be if Americans stop thinking of cheesemongers as just people who hand out free samples at grocery stores, guys.
She's an artist, too.
That's very cool.
Thanks, Claudia. Appreciate it. Coming up, stress and confusion plaguing America's health community this morning.
In the heated debate over President Trump's still unproven claims that taking a popular painkiller while pregnant can lead to autism in children. Stay with us. That's next.
Back now with a closer look at what's making news in the world of politics this morning, starting with a new battle emerging over the funding of Obamacare.
NBC News senior national political reporter Sahil Kapoor joins us with more. Hey, Sahil, good morning.
Good morning, guys. We begin today in politics with a bit of deja vu. Obamacare, the health care law signed by President Obama in 2010, is a key sticking point in the battle to prevent a government shutdown in 1 week. The reason? There's a pot of money for insurance coverage that's set to expire at the end of the year. Democrats insist on extending it in a short-term funding bill in order to win their votes and to prevent double-digit premium hikes for enrollees. Republicans say they're open to dealing with this problem, but not in a government funding bill. However, insurance companies are filing their rates in the coming weeks, and open enrollment begins on November 1st. After that, many could drop their coverage entirely because of the sticker shock. Remember, it takes 60 votes in the Senate to pass any bill, meaning Democrats have real leverage here. While we're talking about a potential shutdown, the top Democratic leaders in Congress, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, are planning to meet with President Trump in the Oval Office this week. They say they will, quote, emphasize the importance of rising costs, including the Republican health care crisis, end quote. The stakes are high because the top Democrats have made no progress in getting the Republican leaders in Congress to sit down and negotiate with them on a short-term funding bill. Could Trump break the ice? And if he makes an offer or accepts one, will Republicans follow his lead? And finally, the late conservative activist Charlie Kirk's organization, Turning Point USA, is returning to college campuses this week for a new tour featuring prominent right-leaning personalities who will speak. One event is slated for this Wednesday at Virginia Tech, according to the group. And speakers for this upcoming tour will include Republican governors like Virginia's Glenn Youngkin and Utah's Spencer Cox, as well as Senator Mike Lee and talk show host Glenn Beck. And that is a look at what's making news in politics this morning. Guys?
All right, Sahil, thank you so much. All right, well, now let's return to one of our top stories this morning. The Trump administration pushing this unproven link between acetaminophen and autism in children.
Yeah, and there's been plenty of reaction to that claim by the White House from the medical community. Let's bring in our NBC News Now anchor, Kate Snow, for more on that. Kate, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. You know, the president could not have been more clear about this. He said directly to people, do not take Tylenol if you're pregnant. He said that the active ingredient acetaminophen, quote, can be associated with a very increased risk of autism, but it turns out that the medical community does not agree, and it drew immediate criticism.
President Trump issuing a strong warning to pregnant women.
Taking Tylenol is not good.
Suggesting without evidence the number of children born with autism would decrease if expectant moms stopped using acetaminophen.
This will be as important as any single thing I've done.
On social media, a flurry of reaction.
Tylenol was created after the discovery of autism. After. I'm like shaking. I'm so angry right now.
Tylenol being a contributor to autism makes so much sense.
But not one major medical organization supports the Trump administration's view on acetaminophen. The American Academy of Pediatrics saying the White House event on autism was filled with dangerous claims and misleading information. The American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists saying in more than 2 decades of research on the use of acetaminophen in pregnancy, not a single reputable study has successfully concluded that the use of acetaminophen in any trimester of pregnancy causes neurodevelopmental disorders in children. OBGYN Dr. Lucky Seacon has been fielding phone calls from concerned patients, but her guidance remains the same.
If they have pain or they have fever, they should treat it. Use the Tylenol as directed. It's really key to the health of the pregnancy and your future child.
The debate causing confusion and stress for some expecting mothers. Emily Hoyman is 8 months pregnant and has taken Tylenol throughout her pregnancy on her doctor's advice.
We should listen to doctors and not politicians when making medical choices. We have enough things to be stressed about, to be worried about when we're moms.
Whitney Villanueva is a pharmacist and mother of 2 autistic children. She worries mothers who take Tylenol and then have a child with autism might blame themselves.
Maybe you could have done everything perfect and you still would have been gifted this child.
To be clear on this, the guidance on acetaminophen is not from the CDC. It is solely coming from the Trump administration and the FDA. In a published letter, the FDA says doctors should consider minimizing the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy. That language, guys, consider minimizing, is not nearly as far as President Trump went.
I think also worth noting that's kind of what doctors do.
Yeah, it is basically it's almost like what the existing guidance is from all the other groups that we just mentioned, saying like you can think about this and maybe, don't take it when you don't need to. But certainly there's not the research there to say that there is a causal connection.
Yeah. All right, Kate, thank you so much.
A pirate flag from a hit Japanese anime show is suddenly showing up at protests worldwide, from Asia to Europe to South America. So why is it catching on with Gen Z activists? Business and data correspondent Brian Chung explains.
An odd-looking pirate flag, a skull and crossbones with a straw hat, popping up in protests around the world. Indonesia, Nepal, France, the Philippines, and even now in Peru and Argentina.
Well, I'm gonna be king of the pirates!
Originally from the best-selling Japanese comic and anime series One Piece, the symbol is called the Straw Hat Jolly Roger, and now it represents resistance among Gen Z. As young people globally share the same message to their governments, enough is enough. The flag started going viral this summer in Indonesia, where student groups mobilized to protest parliament members' high salaries, political corruption, and wealth inequality. Then an appearance this month at Nepal's Gen Z protests, turning deadly and focused on government corruption and a social media ban. The Block Everything protests in France over President Macron's budget measures, also featuring the flag. And then again in the Philippines during protests over political corruption.
I think youth gravitate towards them because they feel like they're part of youth culture.
One Piece has been in print for nearly 30 years, and the anime has over 1,000 episodes. Its popularity surging during the pandemic.
COVID sort of sealed the deal that everyone is a fan.
So much so that Netflix picked it up for a live-action series.
Or Jolly Roger. We are the Straw Hat Crew.
The story centers on a ragtag crew called the Straw Hat Pirates.
This is gonna be our mark?
Sure is.
They travel to different islands, not just looking for treasure, but fighting oppressive leaders and governments. The universal message making the jump from TV screens to the streets.
It doesn't stand for a single thing. It could be taken as rebellion generally, but it's not really clear what kind of justice it would map onto.
It's not the first time pop culture images have been seen in social movements. Just think of the Guy Fawkes mask, popularized by the film V for Vendetta.
It's of codename V.
Or the three-finger salute from the Hunger Games series. And it's common for protest movements to choose a symbol to show a collective identity. Think of the umbrella movement in Hong Kong back in 2014. But now a new wave of activism inspired by a growing anger and anime taking the world by storm.
And our thanks to Brian Chung for that report.
Well, coming up, it's no secret that the dream of owning a home is out of reach for some Americans.
So after the break, we're diving into a surging trend nationwide of folks ditching the white picket fence in favor of something a little more mobile. That is next on Morning News Now. We are back with a look at the growing number of Americans who are turning to RVs as a more affordable place to call home. A survey from the RV Industry Association revealed that the full-time RV community has more than doubled since 2021. NBC News correspondent Ellison Barber traveled to Tennessee to hear stories from those who made the switch.
Get this outside light on. And it actually has a queen-size bed, which is hard to believe.
For Gus Francis, this is home. A 20-year-old camper he bought for $5,000, parked in an RV lot in Graysville, Tennessee, just north of Chattanooga.
I got all my rosaries for protection everywhere. Books.
Now retired, he worked for decades as a commercial diver and hoped to live closer to his widowed mother. But when he sought a more conventional home,
I just can't see how people with a normal job making $15 an hour can afford an apartment without multiple roommates.
Are you able to use this for now or no?
No, I don't use it at all. I eat a lot of soup.
Yeah, soup is great.
meals are made in the microwave, the stove unused for fear of a gas leak. Right next door is Debbie Williams.
Welcome to my house. Over here's the grandkids, see?
Oh, cute, yeah.
And that's Seven's name.
The littlest one.
Yeah.
She sold her house in Kentucky to be closer to her grandchildren. But housing prices near Chattanooga increased by almost 50% since 2020.
Apartments are like about $1,200 a month, but then you got your utilities to pay. This is permanent. Plus it it's like $550 a month, includes electric, water.
So you're saving over
and
50%.
Trash too, everything. It includes everything.
Debbie works nights helping adults with disabilities and says she likes her setup, even if the exercise bike doesn't fit inside.
Bathroom, yeah.
Okay.
I like my shower. It's really nice. And then my bedroom.
Debbie and Gus now among the nearly 500,000 people in the U.S. living in RVs full time.
I sometimes thought, man, if I could have saved more money in the past, but what it was is I don't blame myself either because I raised 4 kids with no child support.
Despite the tight quarters, plenty of room to build a community that matters. Ellison Barber, NBC News, Graysville, Tennessee.
More money news now. Let's get to the latest on President Trump's fight to fire a member of the FTC.
CNBC's Silvana Henao joins us now with that and other Wall Street headlines. Hi, Silvana. Good morning.
Savannah, Joe, good morning. Yes, so the Supreme Court allowed President Trump to remove Rebecca Slaughter as a member of the Federal Trade Commission. That's at least for now. Now, 2 lower courts rejected the president's attempt to fire Slaughter, who was appointed by President Biden. Now, the Supreme Court will allow the termination to take effect while the justices consider whether to overturn the decades-old precedent that protects federal agency members from being fired by the president without sufficient cause. Jaguar Land Rover said today that its production lines will be shut down until at least October 1st. England's biggest automaker has been on the sidelines since a cyber attack on August 31st. Jaguar Land Rover, which is owned by India's Tata Motors, has offered limited information about the cyber attack, but says it is working with the UK government to ensure production restarts in a safe and secure manner. And reviews for the new line of iPhone 17s, largely positive, but there is one issue bugging customers, Scratchgate. So according to Bloomberg, the new aluminum unibody frame is prone to scratching easily, especially the iPhone 17 Pro in the deep blue, but there is an easy fix. You can just put a case on it.
There you go.
How about that?
Costs a little more money, but there you go. All right, Silvana.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
You got it.
All right, yesterday, NASA introduced its newest class of astronauts, 10 people who could one day set foot on the moon, even on Mars. This, as the acting head of NASA says the U.S. is in yet another space race, this time with China. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello, he's at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. He joins us from inside one of the simulators that astronauts train in. Tom, I got to go there one time and be inside an Orion simulator. It completely blew my mind. Good morning.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, and this is how they train, right? Because Orion will one day loop around the Earth and do a very big loop around the moon. But here's what's fascinating about this new astronaut class. For the first time ever, it is a majority female class. And one member of that class may look rather familiar to you because she was part of Jared Isaacman's Polaris Dawn mission to raise money for charity.
Are you ready to meet the 24th group of astronaut candidates?
Wearing their astronaut blues for the first time, a standing ovation from NASA employees, family, and friends for the newest class to make the cut.
You are America's best and brightest. And we're going to need America's best and brightest because we have bold exploration plans for the future.
4 men and 6 women selected from 8,000 applicants. They include fighter and test pilots, engineers, and a medical doctor. When engineer Yuri Kubo told his wife and 2 small children he was going to be an astronaut, a surprise reaction.
My kids were mostly concerned about me meeting an alien, so that was like, okay.
That could still happen.
It could still happen, but they'll probably come in peace. I'm confident. I feel good about it.
Anna Menon was also selected, a biomedical engineer who flew on the Polaris Dawn mission with billionaire Jared Isaacman, raising money for St. Jude Children's Hospital. Now, the moon, or maybe even Mars, could be in her future.
I can hardly believe it myself. You know, what a time in human spaceflight that is even possible.
Now, all 10 members of astronaut class 24 will begin 2 years of extensive training in the classroom, in the pool, piloting, even wilderness survival. Meanwhile, other veteran astronauts are already scheduled for a big loop around the moon as part of Artemis 2 in the first part of next year. Then NASA hopes Artemis 3 astronauts, including a woman, will land on the moon in 2027 or 28. But America is not alone.
And I'll just tell you this, I'll be damned if the Chinese beat NASA or beat America back to the moon. We are going to win.
China plans to land its own astronauts on the moon by 2030, and the moon could be the springboard to Mars.
And the first boot that ever sets foot on the surface of the red planet will be an American astronaut and could well be one of these boots right here.
I am just pinching myself that this is even possible. You know, what a chapter of human spaceflight that we are in, that this is even possible today.
Yeah. Can you imagine Yuri and Anna, both of them, started dreaming of becoming an astronaut when they were about 8 or 9 years old, and they started dedicating themselves at that young age to learning hard science, really hard science. And look where they are now. Listen, all of the astronauts have very impressive resumes. If you want to get inspired, maybe inspire a kid you know, look at their resumes, their bios online on the NASA website, and you will be amazed. And I often feel like an underachiever.
Yeah,
you
no
guys,
kidding.
back to you.
Tom, thank you so much. Okay, we're actually going to talk to one of those high achievers right now for more on the latest class of astronauts and what they can expect. We're going to bring in somebody who has been there. He's been through this training. You know him. It's our friend, former NASA astronaut Mike Massimino, also the author of Moonshot, a NASA astronaut's guide to achieving the impossible. Mike, okay, you have to give us the scoop. Like, we're obviously not in the club, but you have to tell us, what is training like? 2 years coming up for them. What are the toughest parts?
Well, I'm very happy for all of them. I only know one of them. I know Anna Menon. It was featured there, but I don't know the rest of the group. I'm sure. I look forward to meeting them over the next, however long it takes for me to meet them at reunions or other events. So I'm just happy for all of them. They are astronaut candidates. That's not a little subtlety. They're not officially astronauts yet. So that means that they're going to be going through like 2 years of astronaut college, where they're going to learn how to fly in T-38 high-performance jets and how to do spacewalks and work as a crew member, go to survival training, a combination of things, Russian language training as well. So they'll do that for 2 years, and then they'll be qualified to go on space flights and start getting assigned to the missions that are upcoming in the next couple of years. It's very exciting. I'm excited for all of them.
How much of the training is mental as opposed to, obviously, the physical?
Well, it's a combination of both. The culture of there at NASA in the astronaut office. The physical part is you're in the gym almost every day. It's just like part of your daily routine, and so you stay in as best shape as you can because you're going to need to do that to be successful in your training. But I would say though, Joe, most of it really is more of a mental situation. It's learning to work in a stressful situation, learning how to work as a crew member, being outside of your comfort zone. And for all of us, that's a little bit different. But for me, I was outside of my comfort zone quite often when we were doing some of our high adventure training, a lot of the underwater stuff we did to get ready to do the underwater training for the spacewalks required comfort in the water that I didn't have, that I had to develop. So you're outside of your comfort zone a lot, and you never really put at risk when you're doing the training. But I think there's a lot of mental obstacles that you need to overcome and negotiate.
Mike, as we've been talking about for the past couple of days, just like obviously these are people who really wanted to do this. They beat out thousands of candidates for just these 10 spots. But is it ever like, how tough is the mental piece of this? Like when we talk about they might even go to Mars, like obviously I have no idea what I'm talking about compared to an astronaut, but I don't know if you've experienced this, or maybe you, Joe, when you're like going to go on a roller coaster and you think it sounds so much fun, and then right before you're kind of like, oh God, why did I sign up for this? Like, is there that feeling that kind of like at any point that you're like, oh dear, even though it's something you've always wanted?
Oh yeah. We used to call that type 2 fun, where it's, some of the training events, we'd say, what is it like? And it's type 2 fun. I mean, it's fun after you've done it. When you're going through, it's like, I don't know about this. And a lot of that, I think, is part of the mental thing, too, that you bring out, Savannah, is that, looking up at the spaceship on the morning of my first launch, it was the middle of the night, and I looked up at the spaceship, and it was making these horrible noises. It was a cryogenic fuel going through the pumps, and it was smoke coming off of it. And it looked like a beast, and it looked like it was angry. And I looked up at that spaceship. But for all these years of dreaming about it, I thought maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But that's when you rely on your training, and that kicks in, and you understand you have a team behind you, and you're well trained, and you have the right tools, and you move forward and get in that spaceship, and then everything's fine. I think that's one of the key things, is that some of the things you might do. I even look back on now. I've been out of NASA for 11 years now. I look back on some of the stuff that I did. It's like, wow, that was pretty crazy. But at the time, it seems normal because you're so well trained, and you're ready to go and encounter these things. And at times it might seem a little daunting, but you remember that you're well trained. You rely on that training, and you're fine.
Mike, this is why everybody should read his book also, because it's just so great.
Including the new astronauts. They should read the book.
No
too, if
kidding.
they haven't already.
Mike, thank you for walking us through this one. We'll see you soon.
You bet. Thanks.
All right, coming up, it was a comedy show that had one rising star really thinking on his feet.
When Morning News Now returns, the night of laughs that turned stone cold serious after a life-threatening emergency took center stage mid-set. We will explain next.
We end this hour with a comedy show in Washington State that for a moment was no laughing matter.
Yeah, when an emergency broke out in the middle of the set, the joke stopped and the crowd jumped into action. NBC News correspondent Erin McLaughlin has more on what happened next.
Comedian Drew Lynch was just a few minutes into his set in Spokane when he saw someone collapse.
Oh, hey, everything okay? Oh, no.
83-year-old Dick Wendy's heart stopped. You see the entire club leap into action, including 2 ER nurses sitting nearby.
Hey guys, can we give some space to the people who aren't performing the CPR, please?
They perform CPR for 5 minutes. The paramedics arrive, and then
you guys all really just came together in a really cool way, dude. You saved that guy's life, man.
Everyone in that room really did seem like they were connected.
It's unlike anything I've ever seen. It just reminded me maybe of a time like a long, long time ago where it was like you helped out a neighbor.
Wendy woke up in the hospital and tells us he's okay. The very next day, Lynch visited him to finish the show.
Have you made a lifelong friend?
I have. The rest of my life, I'm an old guy, but the rest of my life, he will be a friend of mine.
Erin McLaughlin, NBC News.
Wow.
And a lot of friends.
Oh my gosh,
Everyone
this
jumping into
reaction
action.
so sweet. Wow.
That is incredible. All right, that's going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us, though. The news continues right now.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.